Welcome to the Reset Bible Study. We're in session 3 of our study of the Gospel of Mark. You'll remember that last week, in our last session, we studied the dramatic encounter between Jesus and a demon-possessed man. In this power struggle, in this contest or showdown between the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan, it was really no contest. In the end, with one short command, Jesus cast the demon out of that man, setting him free. Now, today we're going to continue by looking at a different aspect of Jesus. Jesus as miracle worker. Jesus' message of the coming of the kingdom meant that the signs of the kingdom would accompany the Messiah, God's servant. And we see those signs described in the Gospel of Mark. Miracles, wonders. It raises the issue, the question, for many modern people especially, as to whether we really can rationally and reasonably believe that the miracles described by Mark really happened, really occurred. And then furthermore, can Jesus perform miracles in our world today? I'd like to know what you think about that. And so I've designed a questionnaire that has 5 questions. The questionnaire is included, I think, in the notes, but just to be sure, I've got it here and we're going to share the screen with you in a moment and find out what you think. All right, here we go. So there are 5 questions and you can respond with 3 possible answers. Yes, no, or not sure. Number 1, are you skeptical about the miracles of Jesus described in the Gospels? Yes, no, not sure. Do you think Jesus performs miracles in our world today? Have you ever experienced a miracle or witnessed a miracle? Do you think that when a miracle is reported and validated by medical or scientific investigation, it builds faith in the hearts of Christian believers? And then finally, do you think that modern day miracles make Christianity more believable to non-believers? Do miracles make Christianity more plausible? Well, okay, stop sharing. Sorry about that. The questionnaire, the poll tells us what you believe about miracles, but it really doesn't tell us why you think the way you do about miracles. I want to point out a critically important principle, that your openness to the possibility of miracles is directly related, even dependent on your worldview. Let me repeat that. Your openness to the possibility of miracles recorded in the New Testament and in the world today is directly related, even dependent on your worldview. Well, what is a worldview? I have a definition from a great book written by James Sire. It's been around a long time, but it's still a very useful book. If you don't have it in your library, I encourage you to get it. The book is entitled The Universe Next Door, A Basic Worldview Catalog. And James Sire defines worldview in this way. A worldview is a commitment, a fundamental orientation of the heart and mind that can be expressed in a set of beliefs and presuppositions. Presuppositions are underlying assumptions that we hold about the basic makeup of reality and provides the foundation on which we live, move, and have our being. More concisely, a worldview is a frame of reference for all thought and action. Every thought you think and every action you take is interpreted through your personal matrix of beliefs and presuppositions. In fact, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say you are your worldview. You are your worldview. And so we need to examine worldviews. Because the more we know about worldviews, the more we will understand the way we think and the way we behave. Tell me your worldview and I'll tell you what you think about miracles. Illustrates that point. And so we need to examine what I call the naturalistic, atheistic, anti-supernaturalistic worldview. There is a lot of overlap between these particular aspects of this, but really we're talking about naturalism or atheism or anti-supernaturalism. And you'll notice I've included it in one gigantic overarching label. Now, currently in Western civilization and Western culture, this is the default worldview. It's a worldview which is held in intelligentsia, academic institutions, particularly, and it's dominant. It is the default worldview. And so it's really important that we become aware of this worldview, fully aware of its beliefs and its radical implications. Now, again, I've got a list of these beliefs and implications, and I'm going to share that for you as well. And so you remember that we said that this is an anti-supernatural, atheistic, and anti-Christian worldview. Actually, we didn't say that, but let me just rephrase that. This is an anti-naturalistic, atheist, and anti-supernatural worldview, and it is very anti-Christian, of course, because it entails those three aspects that we've briefly introduced here. Here are the fundamental beliefs and implications of this worldview. I'm going to go through them very quickly. There is no God or gods. That is to say, there's no transcendent supreme being, cosmic intelligence, or mind. God doesn't exist because he can't be seen through a telescope or examined under a microscope or measured in a test tube. That is, it's impossible to know whether God exists through empirical investigation. Continuing, nothing exists apart from nature. All that exists is matter and energy. The universe or multiverse is eternal and uncaused. The universe or multiverse is eternal and uncaused. Now, this sentiment was captured by Carl Sagan, a popularizer of science, quite a few years ago, and he said this: the cosmos is all that is, or was, or ever will be. And because there is no God, there is no objective design, meaning, purpose, or significance to your life and existence. You are the dumb luck result of a random, blind, undirected evolutionary process. I've included a quotation from the poster boy for this particular worldview, Richard Dawkins, the famous biologist. And in very stark words, he says this: in a universe of electrons and selfish genes, blind physical forces, and genetic replication, some people are going to get hurt. Other people are going to get lucky. And you won't find any rhyme or reason in it, nor any justice. The universe that we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is at bottom no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but pitiless indifference. Furthermore, there are no miracles. There is no supernatural or spiritual realm, no answers to prayer. You are a mere biomechanical machine. You have no immaterial mind, self, soul, or I. You are your brain and nothing more. You have no free will, no ability to authentically choose any of your actions. All your thoughts and behaviors are hardwired, predetermined by biology. Nothing of you survives physical death. Your final destiny is extinction. A.J. Meyer says in the Humanist Outlook, I take it to be fact that one's existence ends at death. So to escape nihilism or nihilism, which is the abject despair, senselessness, and absurdity of life, according to this worldview, you must create or imagine your own personal meaning, significance. and purpose in life. There's a kind of rebellion that must take place. You must try to create subjective meaning because there is no overarching objective meaning or purpose in life. Because there is no God, no supernatural basis for morality, no overarching moral code from a creator, then there is no objective standard of good or evil, nor any objective binding basis for morality. All you have is opinion, counting noses to know what is right and wrong. And there is no heaven or hell, no future punishment or future reward. Your moral values are delusions ingrained into you by evolution and social conditioning. You are not bound by any objective moral obligations or moral accountability. All your moral choices are ultimately personal and inconsequential. Finishing up, the New Testament accounts of Jesus' exorcisms, that is the casting out of demons and miracles, are merely myths, legends, superstitions. Jesus was no Messiah or divine Son of God. Jesus was nothing more than a charismatic, itinerant cynic philosopher. Jesus did not rise from the dead. His bones lie rotting in a common Palestinian grave. And since the Bible's claims of Jesus' divinity, the claim of his bodily resurrection, and the testimony of all Jesus' followers is a lie, the Christian faith is false. Christianity, at best, is a harmless delusion. Let me repeat what I said earlier. Your openness to the possibility of miracles is directly dependent on your worldview. You see, this is a watershed issue. And by watershed issue, I'm using the metaphor of some sort of obstacle, like an island in the middle of a river. You know, if a river is flowing and it meets in an immovable object like an island, the water will part. It will go in one direction or another. And so we see, and you'll see this in the notes, that worldview is like an island, or aspects of worldview are like an island. And this issue of the supernatural, the reality of this existence of God and the possibilities of miracles is a watershed issue, depending on how you answer this question. You see, if naturalism, atheism, anti-supernaturalism is true, then miracles are impossibility. However, if a transcendent personal being, God, exists, the God of the Bible, then miracles are not only possible, but probable. I hope you caught that. If that God exists, if theism is true, then miracles are not only possible, but probable. I want you to check your notes here because there are a couple of statements I want to read to you that really capture what I think is very important for you to understand. That the truth is, the naturalistic, atheistic, anti-supernatural worldview is showing cracks. It's been around for a couple hundred years now, but during the last 100 years especially, dramatic scientific and philosophical developments have shaken the foundations of this worldview. And it is increasingly being shown to be inadequate in explaining the fundamental nature of reality, existence, and the myriad data of human experience. But this is another study for another time. Now, this concludes our study for today. We've looked very carefully at the issue of whether miracles are possible. The miracles recorded in the Gospel of Mark and miracles in our world today. Now, in our next session, we're going to be investigating a miracle recorded by Mark, where Jesus heals a leper. Again, it's a marvelous display of God's power. Join me next time.